Started. Where are we at here? I know I got some dates on here. The only thing coming up, it looks like, is your homework assignment on Thursday. Is that correct? And it says open the document name, chapter 10, homework, which is that one right there. Your in-class assignment answers posted already. What if you just got, first of all, the first in-class assignment was a non-detailed grading. And most of you either had the word okay at the top or okay with a number, maybe there was a missing item or something like that. Then the homework assignment was next, and that was a non-detailed grading. So either you got the okay at the top or okay with a number. I want you to notice on the homework that you may have my scribble in several places just because I decided to take the time, even though it's a non-detailed grading, to kind of say, hey, I see some errors. So if this were a true non-detailed grading, I'm just looking to see if you did a significant enough work that would be if you were doing it correctly. I'm not even looking to see if you got it right or wrong. So at this point, if it's a non-detailed grading, I'm looking to see if you have enough work. I'm not looking to see if the detail's correct, but you have enough detail. So, you got to make sure and compare it to the correct answer posted. And I try to get the correct answer posted fairly shortly after we go over it, as fast as I can. Next day, if it's one thing, the day after it's another. But I don't know what to say, other than if you have a missing item, like missing work. For example, on the homework, I believe a lot of you did not show how you got your regret table. That's what it was. I believe I even put an example up there. It was where you would take, what was the, give me any two numbers in one state of nature on that regret table. Not on the regret table, I'm sorry, on the cost table that you made your regret table. It was 1212, and what was the bottom one?
840 or something like that.
No,
801.
801? So it was 1212 like this, and 801 like this?
Yeah.
Is that right? Anyway, this was a cost table, this was a state of nature, and this was decision 1, decision 2, full price, discount price, I think. Because it's cost, you wanted to pick the best scenario for each state of nature, which in this case is the 801, not the 1212. But then when you're making a regret table, 801, 801, yeah. But when you got your 411 here, is that what that is, 411? You need to show something how you got that. And at this point in time, nobody lost points for not showing the work. If you took 801 minus 1212, or you took 1212 minus 801, something. You need to show just a little bit more work. And as this class goes on, I'll have no choice but to take off a point or two. So I know you're doing it in your head and subtracting these two, and you're writing down the correct answer. But whatever you're doing in your head, that's what this class is all about, to show that you are conceiving the logical steps that got to that answer. It's understanding how that answer came about that is going to put the advantage over other people when this is discussed in the real world. And don't get me wrong, you're going to forget a lot of this between now and when you get to the point that you're going to meetings that this kind of stuff is talked about all the time. It's going to be a while. But I'm hoping you remember that when you start reviewing this, things will start clicking. Oh, that's how they got maximum regret, or I see how that's calculated. And when you'll be able to see how mistakes are going to be made by some people who are doing this and not really understanding what they're doing, maybe. So it's understanding how the number came about, what affects that number, because that's where the ideas come from. We're going to get to simulation. It's much later in this chapter. It's one of the most important, in this semester. It's a very important chapter because simulation is like being used more and more every single day. It is on the uptick. Where companies are going, look, we have to spend $1 million if we decide to do this direction or go in this direction or get this new product. And so now they're using simulation to determine what's the probability we're going to lose a bunch of money. And I used to always say to me, hey, if that probability is 5% or more, or for sure 10% chance that we're going to lose a bunch of money, it's not worth the risk. But by understanding how that probability got calculated on a simulation is where the real brainstorming takes place. Where you're going, now look, we have this 10% probability of losing money because our supplier said the cost of materials to make this new item is going to be somewhere between $55 and $62. And if we could get that down below 10%, one way we could do it is, let's renegotiate right now with our supplier and get that cost down, and let's redo the simulation, knowing that we can bring our costs down right from the very start. That's where things pay off. And that's where these things will go, whoa, we're about to make a bad decision. We still want to make this decision, but how do we make the decision with more confidence, and we're going to truly make money and not throw money out the door? How do we limit our risk? Business is all risk. It's risk, and you have to constantly change, because the environment and the needs and the wants of human beings are changing every day. And if your company happens to be one meeting a need, you've got to figure out what direction that need is going. If your company's one meeting consumer wants, does everybody know the difference between a need and a want? Have you ever, if I'm in the grocery store and I'm buying water, because I can't get water out of my tap, is that a need or a want? Need. Because you have to have it to survive, correct? But while I'm in line to buy the water, I reach over and grab a pack of gum that's overpriced by 3. Boom. Now did I serve a need or a want? Yeah, I want some gum, but I don't need it to survive, do I? I don't have to have it. Consumer companies sometimes are meeting needs, sometimes are meeting wants, and sometimes they're meeting both. And these wants and needs are changing all the time. The needs are not quite as changing as much as the wants. They're changing fast. I remember, that's going back a long time. In the 70s, everybody and their brother had to have Calvin Klein jeans. And their brother's brother. Why are you laughing? You weren't around the 70s. But anyway, do you see what I'm getting at? Or do you remember when the Razor phone came out? Everybody had to have the Razor phone. This is what's happening to the market. The wants are constantly changing, and those are wants. We don't have to have a specific brand of jeans to survive. We don't have to have a specific kind of phone to survive. These are wants, and the wants are constantly changing. And so when you're at a company, some of you are going to get into management, and all of a sudden you're now at the table. And you're saying, what is it our customers want? How are they changing? What direction are the wants changing in? Because we're meeting wants. The company you're working for may be meeting the want. For example, it could be a service company, by the way, not just a product. But it's constantly changing. You have to change with it. And when you're reaching management, you got to understand how much risk is being taken if you decide to help as a management team to take the direction one direction or another. Remember, this company may be doing $100 million in sales a year, and that's not that big of a company. And you're now made it to the table. It's up to you and the others at the table to make sure this company keeps growing, which sometimes means changing directions. And when you change directions, you're putting up a bunch of money, and you want to make sure you're not taking too much risk, and how to lower the risk, just like investing. How do I make as much as possible, keeping my risk as low as possible? Because the more money this company makes, the more they're going to pay me in bonus. Because we're reaching our goals and bypassing them, and it's a payoff for every employee, especially those at the table who are helping decide how to get it the direction to meet those wants and needs. And then the key is, don't spend it. Put it away like you didn't deserve it. And save it for a later date, because even when you get to the table, you're going to hate your job potentially. And you're going to go, boy, I'm glad I put some money away, because I don't want to be handcuffed to something that I'm not liking. I want to be able to walk away if I want to, because I want to be able to get some sleep again. Anybody know what I'm talking about? You get it? All right, so that's where we're heading. That's where all this stuff, and that's why I need to see your work. I need to see that you're understanding how these numbers came about and what affected them, and how you can affect them if we aren't happy with the number. What can we do to make it better? Now, let's get going. I'm jumping around to keep it interesting. Hey, well, that's your chapter 10 homework. There was something I wanted to talk about. What was there? It was on the course outline. I didn't even open it up. The third assignment I just passed back, which was the in-class assignment from last week, correct? You'll notice the word okay is nowhere on that assignment. Anybody notice that at all? It was a detailed grading. I was looking at every detail to see if you showed your work, you got the right answer. And I should have taken off points for those who gave me, I can't remember if it was 7.5 or 4.5, but I think it was 4.5 for your whole cost. Whoops, capital C, small a. 4.5 in that formula on that in class. And Everybody got a break in both classes because you didn't show me how you got that 4.5. That was not a given number in the in-class assignment. What was given is, I think it said, holding costs will be 25% of the cost of one item. In another sentence it said, can't remember how much the item was, $18? The cost of one item is $18. You took and multiplied 25% times $18 and got your holding cost of $4.50, but many of you, I'd say 50% of you, never showed me how you got your $4.50. Show that logical process. I don't want you to lose points. I didn't take off points for it because this was your first detailed grading. But watch out, you're going to have another detailed grading here in your future, and we're heading to where, I'm taking off points if you're not showing me how you got your holding costs. Yeah, it's not negative. Don't worry too much about it. But it could be, that one would be like somewhere between 2 and 5 points, depending on how much is involved in the whole problem. Every single assignment has 100 points distributed, but that 100 points for that assignment is only really 2 or 3% of your grade, because you got to say, okay, what is it? In-class assignments are like 20% of our grade maybe, and we're probably going to have maybe 12 of them, so each one is less than 2% of your whole grade. Look at the percent of what each one is towards your grade as points, because every assignment adds up to exactly 100 if you got 100 on all of them. So there's 100 points for this class. Just a matter of what percent of each one of the amount of points contributed. So out of 100 points, what did I say you got? What is this? 20% in class, so it's about 12 in-class assignments. Let's just say it's 2% of the whole grade. What amount of that 2% did you get? You got your in-class assignment, you go, I got a 96. You take 96, or 0.96 times 2, and out of those 2 points, that's the amount of points you got towards the 100. If it's worth 2, it's worth 1 point something, 1.8. We don't know if we're going to have 12 in-class assignments. I just made that one up because I don't know until the end. So when I give you your weighted total grade after quiz 1, it's an estimate. I'm estimating we'll have 12 in-class assignments, but towards the end, wow, we're going to have 13 or we're going to have 11. I go back and change those weights as we continue on, as I realize the estimate's slightly off. Now, if you had any missing items, anybody sees missing items at the top, please consider handing in the missing items with the assignment again, so I can see what I wrote, and I will give you points back based on whenever you get that back to me. And you should be able to get as much as possible minus the late reduction, because the correct answer is going to be posted, or is already posted, I think. So you should be able to hand in the missing item. When I went over the homework and you said to yourself, oh, I didn't do that little bit of part, hand it in that night. The answer is going to be posted that night, because every day that goes by, if you wait till the next time we meet to hand it in, you've gotten how many days of late reduction on that portion that you're trying to get points back. We started production lot size, the second one of the 4. Here's the other 2 we're going to go through today. But I don't remember exactly how far we got, so I'm just going to quickly review it until you tell me, so someone says, I think that's where we got to or something, okay? Production lot size. We were talking about this in class today, that a big hint, remember I said the hardest thing is when you read these problems, figure out which one of these 4 formulas you're going to use to calculate maybe the optimal quantity or whatever it is it's asking for. You'll know it's production lot size because it will mention manufacturing and how many you should make. And this is the only one that has a P, which represents production rate or production capacity. So if there's anything about how many could be made with the words like production capacity or production rate, you know it's this second one, because it will be the only one that's mentioned at all. Production rate won't be in the other problem. If this class becomes too easy, maybe try to trick you, but it wouldn't be used. Only this one. Matter of fact, I'll go with, it will only be mentioned, production rate, if you're supposed to use this formula. My allergy started yesterday, heavy. Anybody else have allergy? Yeah. Did it hit you recently heavy? Yeah, you too? Yeah, I can't stop it. It's like, I think it's like 4 more weeks we got or something, right?
Mine's been bad all summer.
All the time, wow. Now, I'm also asking you to give me the number of production runs per year. And it's always however many they sell in a year divided by that optimal many they should make in one run. so they know how many times. I think in the example we talked about that they're going to do it like 3 or 4 times a year. The other formula you need for sure is this total annual cost. All 4 of these, you got to do the total annual cost. You got to. This will definitely be in your future. 1 of them on the final, 1 or 2 on the quiz. Total annual cost. All right. We talked about the tiles, right? And we talked about how this company. Did we get this far? We didn't. Okay. This company's making tiles, and they sell 1 million tiles a year to their customers. Well, you know, the contractors, whoever orders tiles. They manufacture it. They have this big machine they bought that they're running it 100,000 tiles at a time. So to get to their 1 million, they set it up and run tiles 10 times a year. And they let it run for 100,000, they shut it down, they retool it to make something else, they come back and make this tile again, 100,000 of them. So they're setting up 10 times. Their quantity they're making is 100,000. Their setup cost is crazy high, $5,000 every time they set that up. So 10 times a year for that particular product of tiles they make, they spend 5,000 times 10, $50,000 a year just doing the 10 setups. That's a pretty high setup cost, by the way, higher than reality a little bit, but still, this is probably where they're wasting their money right here, because they're doing it 10 times. Holding cost is estimated to be 10%. Now in the previous formula, it was whatever percent it would cost to buy 1 item of whatever the item is from the supplier. In this case, it's the percent times however much it costs for the manufacturer to make 1 item. And the manufacturing cost to make 1 tile is $1. What's our holding cost? I heard it. 10 cents. 10% of $1. Don't forget, holding cost is always in dollars, so to write 10 cents, you gotta go 0.10. There's 10 cents in the formula for holding cost. If the holding cost didn't give you a percentage, and maybe just said, the holding cost is $2, and then it keeps going, the number you would put for C sub H then is 2. Holding cost is always in dollars. How many dollars? Then it says the production capacity of this machine is 500,000 per month. Don't forget, capacity P always has to be annual, just like demand has to be annual. So the demand was given to us 1,000 per year, but the capacity production rate was not per year. It says the factory is open 365 days. Here we go. Demand, 1 million. Production, 6 million. How'd they get that? 500,000 a month times 12.